Can you see me now? Can we hear me? Okay. Now you can hear me. Okay, good. Yay! Well, thank you everyone for coming. We have audio and visual, I hope. So I don't have my usual camera on because I don't know, I had some technical difficulties and let's see if I can get it on. No, it's not showing up. So I don't know why it is, but we can just use my laptop camera. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for coming. Looks like we have lots of people here, so that's great. So today we are talking about cats. And you guys sent me so many pictures of cats. Thank you so much. And I didn't even have time to use all of them because you sent me 1 million cats. It was just a lot of cats. I was drowning in cats. So we're going to talk about the modes of inheritance of coat color for cats. So I didn't have time to get to everything. Obviously, there are a lot of genes that go into putting together a cat. We can't talk about all of them, but we can talk about a lot of them. So, one other thing, thought we would maybe celebrate the fact that as of right now, I have 134 subscribers. So let's do a giveaway. So I'm going to do a giveaway for $134 to Dan's Fish. So you have to be in the US to win. Sorry about that, international friends. Maybe we'll do another giveaway someday that is good for international people. But we're doing a giveaway to my very favorite online fish store, Dan's Fish. I think we have Johnny in the chat. You can buy all kinds of fish. Most of what you see in these tanks is from Dan's Fish. They are the fish that are most willing to arrive alive of any fish I've known. So that we have 134 subscribers, so it'll be a gift certificate for $134. We will do the giveaway sometime during this stream. I don't know when yet, but you have to be present to win, and the hashtag will be, and I'll use the StreamYard giveaway tool because I watched a tutorial on how to do it. It will be hashtag Fat Kitty. Of course it will be hashtag Fat Kitty. I mean, what else could it be? So you can enter that at any time, but I'm not sure when we'll do the giveaway. It will be sometime before 9:30 Eastern time, and you have to be present to win. Not Fast Kitty, Fat Kitty. Fat Kitty, because Fat Kitty doesn't really go anywhere. He's not that fast. He's a slow kitty. So let's pull up my PowerPoint and we will get started talking about cats. So, share screen. Share screen. Screen number 2. Share. All right. So, I bet you see a kitty that some of you know. Yay! So, can you guys all see Fat Kitty? Hopefully you can. Let me check the comments. Make sure you can. So, no. I don't want it on both screens. There we go. I want it just on that screen. Okay. So, first we're going to talk about some definitions and some words. So, some of these are words you probably already know, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, genotype are the genes that you have in every cell. These are in your nucleus, if you are a eukaryote, which all of us are. And because we are animals, we have 2 sets of each gene. One came from our mothers and one came from our fathers. Now, you don't always express both of those copies of each gene. And what you express is your phenotype. So, genotype are your genes, and phenotype is what you look like. So, genes come in different flavors, and those flavors are called alleles. So that's not on the screen, but you need to know what an allele is. It's just a flavor of a gene, and at the molecular level, it's just a different sequence of a gene. And some alleles are dominant, and some of those are recessive. So dominant means it's always expressed, whether you have one copy or you have two. And recessive means that you have to have two copies. So dominant, one copy to get the phenotype. Recessive, you have to have two copies. If you're homozygous, it means both of your copies are the same. So if you're homozygous recessive, you'll have two of the same, and then it'll be expressed. If you're homozygous dominant, there'll be two of the same. If you're heterozygous, it means your two copies are different alleles. So you got a different one from your mom and a different one from your dad. And the dominant one is the one that would be expressed. So if you have any questions about, come back, so many cats. If you have any questions what any of those words mean, just, say something in chat. I'm trying to follow along as we go. So let's get started. So the simplest inheritance is what we would call autosomal dominance. So that means it's not on a sex chromosome. It's simple dominant recessive, and it's just one gene coding a trait. So a good example of this would be the L gene. So this would be for coat length. And if you are homozygous recessive, so you would be little l, which means that this cat inherited a little L from mom and a little L from dad, you would have long fur. So this is Big Kitty. And look at his tummy. It's so soft. He's a very soft kitty. And this is Jinx. This is one of Brooklyn's mom's kitties. And Jinx is very good looking. Jinx is a very good looking kitty. So that's the L gene. And so this would be common in like a lot of just, regular old street cats. So they would be called like American long hairs, I think is what the shelter usually calls them. A lot of people will say like, oh, I think is it a part Maine Coon or is it a part like Norwegian forest cat? And there's really no way you can know that. I got to quit doing that. There's no way you can know that without sequencing the genome of your cat, which you can do through like 23andMe or something, and you can pay money to do that. But I can't tell just by looking at a cat if it's Norwegian forest or a Maine Coon. I mean, Big Kitty is a very big kitty. Maybe he's part Maine Coon. I don't know. And Geek Voice is never getting another long hair. Oh my God, hair everywhere. Like, all we do is sweep up after Big Kitty. He sheds so much. But look how handsome he is. He's so good looking. So that's simple autosomal dominance. That's the easiest kind of inheritance. So we've got some more kitties here. So the B gene locus, it codes actually for the pigment eumelanin. So we actually have eumelanin in our bodies too. So that's the pigment that gives me brown eyes. That's eumelanin. But it's in cats, it's encoded at the B gene locus. Locus just means placed on a chromosome, so I'll say that a lot, you'll see. So it's the B gene, and big B is dominant to little b or little b L. And so if a cat has one copy of the big B gene, it'll be a black kitty, so it'll be a void. And but if you have a little b, it'll be a chocolate kitty, and those are not very common. And if it's the little b superscript I gene, a homozygous recessive of that, it'll be a cinnamon cat. And nobody sent me any chocolate or cinnamon kitties, so I didn't have any to show. They're not as common. Honestly, like I didn't get sent many black kitties, and black kitties are pretty common. But this is Geek Boy's kitties. So this is Beastie, his devil kitty on his shoulder. We don't know if beastie is a homozygous dominant or if he's a heterozygote. Or is it she? Tell us what sex your cat is. We don't know. But anyways, we don't know because this is the dominant allele. So we're only seeing the one that's expressed. So, and then Geek Boy also sent me, this is his kitty Emma on the left. We know Emma's a girl. And Emma has the big B gene, but we don't know if Emma is a heterozygote or a homozygous dominant. Now, if Emma had kitties ever, we would know that, but I don't think Geek Boy never sent me any kitty pics. And I don't feel like he would hold out on me that way. June, you didn't know I was collecting kitty pics? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm drowning in kitty pics though, guys. You sent me so many kitty pics. It was a lot to edit all of these. So that's simple autosomal dominance. Very simple there. But you notice we have a couple different alleles. And the chocolate and cinnamon alleles are both recessive to the black allele. Now, I don't know what happens if you would have a heterozygote of chocolate and cinnamon. I'm not sure what happened with that. They're less common though. We don't see many brown or cinnamon kitties. June says she could have sent me so many. I know you have great cats. So, yeah. So, inheritance can get a little bit more complicated when you bring in sex linkage. So, autosomes are non-sex chromosomes. In humans, we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So 22 of them are autosomes, which means they're not sex chromosomes. And then in females, we have one pair of XX. And in males, there's an X and a Y. I don't know how many chromosomes cats have, but I do know that sex is determined just the same way it is in us. Now, sex can be determined in many, many, many ways across the animal kingdom. But this is kind of how all mammals do it. And maybe we'll talk about sex determination in another episode. I mean, it's a good topic. But the O gene, which codes for something called pheomelanin, is sex-linked in cats. So we have the O gene in humans also, and it codes for pheomelanin. So if you are little o is recessive to big O, little o, you are making pheomelanin instead of eumelanin. So it's kind of a biochemical pathway that's a little bit complicated how that works. But suffice it to say that these cats are making a different kind of pigment, and humans can make this too. So pheomelanin is what redheads have. So that's why they have kind of pinker skin, and they have a coat that looks like fat kitties, right? Their hair is like fat kitties. So that's pheomelanin instead of eumelanin. So, but in humans, it's not sex linked. So what does sex linkage mean? Well, boys get their X chromosome from their mothers. So mom has an X and an X that she can give. And she gives one copy of each chromosome to her offspring. She does not give both unless something went wrong. She just gives one. Dad can give an X or a Y. So if you have a boy, that means he got a Y from dad and he got an X from mom. So he only has one X chromosome. And if it has a little O on it, that means he's going to be an orange kitty. So, and if you have only one copy of a gene, so we would call it your hemizygous in this case, you just have one copy. It's the same. You're just going to express the one copy you have. So you would get a red kitty. If you got a big O gene, you would not be red. You would look different. So that's how sex linkage works. So there's lots of examples of sex linkage in humans if you're ever interested in it. So color blindness is sex linked. I can't think of anything else right now, but it works the same in all mammals. So that's sex linkage. Now, just because it's sex linked doesn't mean you can't have females you can't have orange kitties that are also female. And in fact, lots of you guys sent me them. So, well, let's just name off everybody's kitties up here. So, first of all, this is Fat Kitty right here, the best kitty. And this is Minu. So this is one of Brooklyn's mom's kitties. Oh, he's very handsome. And Nancy, I don't know if you're in chat, but this picture of you is so adorable. And I don't know if Peaches was a girl or a boy, but you were the sweetest little girl holding your kitty right here. This is so cute. And actually, I looked a lot like you when we were little. So I hope I meet you someday because I wonder if you look like me. So excuse me. So, anyways, but you can have orange girls too. So how do you get an orange girl? Well, boys get their X chromosome from their mothers, but girls get one X from mom and they get one X from dad. So if dad was an orange kitty, he has only one kind of X chromosome to give, and that's the little O. So he gave his daughter a little O. And if mom happens to give her daughter a little O also, you will get an orange little girl. So we have Kitty Girl. This is one of Sketty Nona's kitties. She's very pretty. And this is Taco. This is one of Johnny's kitties, also a pretty girl. And this is Strudel. This is one of my outdoor kitties, and she really wants to come in the house, but I have too many cats. But she's so pretty. Look how pretty her face is. Oh, she has such a good cat face. So, anyways, orange female cats are not that uncommon, but statistically, if you have a population of 100 cats that are orange, I mean, that's a damn lot of cats, 75 of them will be boys and 25 of them will be girls because the probability, the probability of being a male or a female is a half. The probability of getting in one chromosome or another is a half. And so a half times a half is a fourth. So the probability of being orange is 1/4. And yes, mysteries now. Annette, Honey is also an orange kitty. Her picture is later. Don't worry, her picture is later. So many good orange kitties. And I love all the mentions in the comments about all your orange kitties that you're thinking about. June had a cat for 22 years, Billy Bob. I love orange kitties because Fat Kitty is an orange kitty. He's the best kitty. All right. So there are some examples where one gene modifies the expression of another. So the dense gene is an example of that. So if you are a homozygous dominant or a heterozygote, your cat's fur is not going to be any different. But if you're homozygous recessive, the cat will be dilute is the phenotype. So dilute. And so the reason for that is the dense gene encodes for a protein that helps deposit other pigments along the hair shaft. So you guys have surprisingly a lot of dilute cats. Like you guys sent me a ton of dilute cats. So this is Pepper. This is one of Rebecca's cats, and Pepper is a Russian blue. So if you see a Russian blue, it's because this is a big B, if you remember earlier. So this would have been a black kitty. But when you have the dilute modifier on there, you get a gray cat because it's not depositing all of that pigment along the hair shaft. And so then we have Maple. Maple is a calico. This is one of Johnny's cats, and I'll tell you how that works later in the talk. And then this is Bug. This is one of Scotty Aquati's kitties. Bug is also a calico. And this is Ubuntu, the dearly departed Ubuntu. This is Rico's cat, and she was dilute. I think she's, well, we'll talk about her background later. I don't think she's a calico, but she is definitely dilute. And this is Sketty Nona's cat, Rue. I don't know if you're in the chat, but I hope that your cats come home. This kitty's missing, this gray kitty. So that's the dense gene modifier. So different genes can modify the expression of other genes because genes affect each other. Right. Why won't this click? There we go. All right, so next we have the agouti gene. So this is something seen in a lot of animals. So if you are a big A cat, or you're a big A heterozygote, you're a tabby. So what agouti fur is is if you look at the fur, just the individual shaft of it, you'll see like striping, deposition of the pigment along it. And that gives cats like their stripy appearance. But if you think about like a standard brown bunny that's hopping around in your yard, that would be an agouti. Or if you think about like Matt's kitty or Matt's dog Stewie, it's his German Shepherd, that's got the agouti gene because it's got that kind of brown and black splotchiness, like, and the fur is like the shaft of it is different colors. So that's an agouti. Very common in the animal kingdom to have agouti. Lots of mice are agouti. And this is dominant and it's autosomal. And I like to call these standard issue cats. I got this from Reddit. They're called standard issue cats. So if your cat is agouti, it's a tabby. It will have striped fur and it'll have an M on the forehead, and it'll have eyeliner, and it'll have light colored and outlined nose. So you can see this is Gracie. This is Foxanne's kitty. You can see her nose is outlined, and her torso, leg, and tail will be all banded. So you can see the stripes on her. So she's a standard issue cat. She's agouti. And there's so many cats. You guys have so many tabbies, just so many. So this is Linus and Atticus. These are Lady Rorschach's cats. We have Elliot. He's apparently a dick. Beloved, but still a dick. This is Ben, the bipolar fish keeper's kitty. This is Kenzie. Kenzie is the love of Kyle's life. I mean, they're in love. They're in love. You can't fight that. Bex cannot fight that. And then this is Nugget. This is Jess's cat, Lady Metalhead. And this cat is so in love with Jess. She sits in her pocket all day. So sweet. So lots and lots of standard issue cats. But tabbies are not all brown because the O gene is actually epistatic to the A gene. So that means it stands on top of it. So what the agouti gene product does is it deposits that pigment along the shaft of the fur. But if you have an OO homozygous recessive cat, you're going to get an orange tabby, like Fat Kitty. So you can see he has the M on him right here. Look how mad he is. Oh, he'd be so mad. And he has the outlined nose, and he's wearing his kitty eyeliner, and his legs and his tail are striped, and there's his fat belly. So that's Fat Kitty. And there's lots and lots of tabbies in the fish fam. Tabbies are so common. I mean, I think if you were to do a population genetic study of cats in America, I think that most of them would be some kind of tabby. So we just have lots and lots of tabbies. So white spotting. This is very complicated. So this is all controlled by the W gene locus. But there are lots and lots of flavors of this. So white is epistatic to all of things because if you have the white gene, it's actually the allele of it interferes with making pigment. So it doesn't matter what your B gene looks like, or if you're agouti, it doesn't matter if you what the O gene locus looks like. If that it's going to cause disruption in pigment deposition. So that's why it's called epistatic. So you get white patches on the cat, and where there's a white patch, there's no pigment. If you were to look at that fur, like a cross section of it, it would be clear because there's no pigment on it at all. So it doesn't have white pigment, it has no pigment. So there are lots of different alleles of this gene. So if you are the D allele of it, this is dominant white. And cats that have that allele are all white, and they're also deaf. And that's because the pathway that's involved in making melanocytes, so the melanin cells in cats, are also involved in making some of the neuronal cells of the ears. And that's why those cats are deaf. So you can also have big W, big S, and this is codominant. So codominant means that you get different, it's not like a true situation where you get homozygous and heterozygous. You get both alleles are expressed. So if you have one copy of the WS gene, you're going to have some white spotting between 0 and 50%. Maybe you just have a little patch on the throat for the kitty, or, maybe like the ears are tipped a little in white. But if they have two S alleles, they're going to be even more white. They could even be up to 100% white, and those cats won't be deaf. So this is how you could get an all white cat that is not deaf. But usually they'll have some little black patches maybe on the chest or the ear, even with two copies of the WS allele. So if you're little w, that's a wild type cat. So there's no white on the cat. So for instance, Fat Kitty, he doesn't have any white on him. So we would call him a wild type cat. And then there's the WG allele. And if you're homozygous for the WG allele, the kitty has white gloves. So it's kind of hard to know what your cat's genotype is just by looking at it, because you can see the inheritance of this is kind of a mess. So like, I don't know how many copies of WS your cat would have. I mean, if your cat is deaf and all white, I think we can assume that it has a WD allele. If it has white gloves, we can assume it's probably a homozygous recessive, but genetics for this is really complicated. But we have lots of kitties with white on them in the fish fam. So this is Big Kitty. Big Kitty has gloves, but he doesn't really have any other white on him. So Big Kitty is also, he's a calico. If you look at his face, he has an M on him, but he's a dilute calico. So because he's kind of pale and washed out, like his stripes are not really pronounced, but you can see he has white gloves. There's his furry feet. So this is Tiny Kitty. This is one of my other cats, and she has a big white patch on her. She's a tuxedo, is kind of the name of her. But I'm not sure how many, she's not deaf. So, I mean, she probably has the WS allele. I don't know if she has one or two of them. I think she probably just has one because she doesn't have much white on her. She has some white tipping on her. I don't know that she's gloved though, because she has other white on her. So inheritance of that is more common, or is more complicated. And this is one of Lady Rorschach's cats. I don't know what this kitty's name is. Tell us in the comments. What is her name? So, and yes, Tommy, homozygous is having two identical alleles of a particular gene. Yes, that is homozygous. So, these are Lori's kitties. This is Willow and this is Meadow, and they're brothers. And the cool thing about this is their cat mom. And so their cat mom was a standard issue cat. So, and a goodie. But you can see how the babies look completely different. And but she has some white spotting, maybe some white gloving. I'm not sure. But they apparently inherited the white gene also because they have a lot of white on them. They're cow cats. One thing I wanted to point out, I didn't get a chance to put this in my slide because, guys, this took a long time to do, and I just didn't have time to do it. But you can see that she is a polydactyl cat, which means she has more than 6 fingers. Mystery Snail Guardians also has polydactyl cats, but her babies did not inherit this because this is dominant in its inheritance. And, cat dad probably didn't have this. So only half her babies got it and half of them didn't. And these two just didn't happen to get it. So they have regular feet. Oh, Scotty wants a mystery snail genetics talk next week or the week after. Maybe. I don't actually know anything about it. I mean, I could read up on it for you and explain it, but yeah, we'll do a snail genetics stream sometime. Who knows? We'll put it on the list. So Tommy says Great Pyrenees have that as well, or a double dew claw. Humans can have polydactyly too, and this is one thing that another term you can add to your arsenal. It varies in penetrance. So penetrance means how much of an allele is expressed. So if sometimes it'll be just a tiny bit more of extra digits, sometimes it will be entire form new digits. And with Annette's kitties, with her kitties, some of them one had 6 toes and one had 7 toes. So that varies in penetrance. And Geek Boy says that there are lots of polydactyl kitties on the Hemingway house. Yes, that is very true. They've been genetically reproductively isolated. So there's something called a founder effect, and that's where you have a small group of individuals are like sent to a new place or a new island, and they found a population from that. And that's why you see a lot of what's usually a rare allele magnified in that population. So another example of the founder effect would be Amish people. So there originally were not that many Amish people, and now there are a lot, and they're very inbred. And so there's like some congenital dwarfism among the Amish and some other genetic abnormalities and diseases because they are a reproductively isolated population. So that's the founder effect. But anyways, these are great looking cats. So finally, we're going to talk about calico cats. So calico cats have a really cool story. So first of all, you pretty much only get calico cats that are females. And that's because of something called X inactivation. So calicos are a result of heterozygosity. Scotty, you're not a dwarf. You're just short. There's nothing wrong with being short, but your bones are just fine. Anyways, calico cats. So calicos are all heterozygous for the O gene. So that means they got one copy from mom that was a big O or a little o, one of them, one of the flavors of the O gene. And they got one copy from dad that was different from that. So, but they're not expressing both of them in every cell. So the reason for that is because of equalizing something called gene dosage. So every cell needs to express the proper dose of a gene. So for most of the genes that are on the autosomes, that would be 2 doses. So one on one chromosome that you got from mom and one chromosome that you got from dad. And it's very bad to have the wrong dose. Why is it bad? Well, I mean, you're just going to have to take my word for this. It's a very complicated thing. But different animals have different strategies to deal with males who are XY. So, if you're an XY individual, you're a male, you only have one dose of a gene, and that's not good. It has to be equal to work. So there's a couple things that you can do. If you're a fly and you're an XY male, what they do is they hyperactivate the X in males. And so they will start expressing that X twice as much. And so they'll ultimately have a double dose by hyperactivation. That's not how it works in mammals. In mammals, what happens is the females will shut down one X chromosome, and they'll take it and they'll squish it into a little ball of what's called chromatin, which is a really dense chromatin that's not accessible, so it's not expressed in every cell. And so there's only one dose being expressed at a time. So, and that way, effectively, both males and females will have the same dose of the X. Now, here's where the interesting thing part happens. Which X chromosome shuts down is random. And that happened, if you remember last week's talk, what the blastula was. So when we were a little tiny ball of cells in our mother, when you're a blastula, you underwent something called the mid-blastula transition. And that was a big biochemical change in your life. But one thing that happened there was bar bodies formed. So one of the X chromosomes would inactivate and it would form this little bar body. And then all the cells that derive from that lineage would have that particular X shut down. Now it's random which one shuts down. So in some of them, the X chromosome that came from mom shut down. And some of them, the X chromosome from dad shut down. And so that's why you get patches of red, of orange, and patches of brown tabby in a calico or a tortie cat. So, and humans have some X inactivation issues too. There's a condition where some people don't make sweat glands, and that's sex-linked homozygous recessive. But if you're a heterozygote for that and you're a woman, you'll make patches of sweat glands in some areas of your body and not others. So kind of interesting. So maybe you have like one hand gets sweaty, but the other one doesn't at all. So that's X inactivation. But what you get out of it are these cute kitties. And we have so many calico kitties. So first of all, torties or tortoiseshell kitties, those are heterozygous, big O, little O cats that don't have any white in them. That's a tortie. And none of you guys sent me any tortie pictures. So you guys all have calicos. So that just means they also have white in them. So this is Phoebe. This is Stephen and Jenna's kitty. And this is Guardian in the background. I wanted to show this picture because first of all, it's got a snail in it. But you can see these two are litter mates. So this is Pumpkin. Pumpkin is a boy. And Guardian is a girl. And we know she's a girl. Well, Annette told me she was a girl. But she's a calico. And calicos are almost always girls. There's one way they can be a boy. And I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But you can see her litter mate is a boy. And he is, his genotype would be X little o Y. So, and then this is Bug. This is Scotty Aquati's kitty. And you can see this is a calico who's dilute, because you can also have a dilute cat in the calico background. Oh, who did make that snail? Someone who loves you. So, Zenny, you didn't send me any cats. You should have sent me cats. Jake had a tortie, his beloved kitty who died a few years ago, but she was a tortie. She was a very pretty kitty. So that is a tortie. Pretty cool story there. So you can have a male who is a calico. And you can have that because you can, if you have an accident happening in meiosis, which we can talk about another time, you can have an XXY male. In humans, that would give you Klinefelter syndrome. So phenotypically, you're a male, but you're sterile. And these cats will be sterile also. But you could have a calico male. Very, very, very rare. If I see a calico on the street, I assume they're female, and I'm pretty much always right. So that's the calico kitty. It's not 5% Lady Rorschach. It's way, 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 way less because Klinefelters is not that common in humans or in cats. It's very, very rare. But those cats would be sterile. We can talk about that another time. So, one last color gene to talk about, and that's cold sensitive alleles. So this is the C gene. We only have one kitty in the fish fam. Zenny, you sent me a kitty? Oh, God, you did. You're right. I'm sorry. Oh, my God. I was drowning in cats, though. We'll show your cats another week. So this is Rin. Rin is a Siamese kitty, and that's because Rin has a cold sensitive allele. So this is a kind of cool thing. So the usual allele of the C gene, it doesn't express any differently. But if you have the cold sensitive allele, you are going to express pigments only where the temperature of the cat is low enough. So you can see the nose and the feet turn black more so than the rest of the body. So it's going to preferentially deposit pigment in areas of the cats that are colder. So that's because your nose is colder than your belly is. So let's see. There are bunnies. So there's some experiments in bunnies with this. And what they did was, this is a terrible experiment. God, science has had some bad things done in it. But they strapped an ice pack to a bunny that had this CS allele, the cold sensitive allele. And so these Siamese bunnies, they're white, but they have black noses and black ears and black paws, kind of like Ren does right there. And it developed a black patch because that area of the bunny was colder. And so as the fur grew back, it grew black, which don't do that experiment. It's so terrible. But I bet if Rin ever had like a little surgery or something or a hot spot and it was in winter, like if, Bex was keeping our house a little colder, it might grow back a little bit darker right there. So, but anyways, yes, Rin is a very pretty kitty, so fluffy. So anyways, that's all we will talk about this week for cats. Again, I'm sorry people who sent me cats and I didn't get to them because you guys sent me so many cats and this took a long time to edit all of them. And I didn't get to show you Annette's cats who are all like polydactyl, but I wanted to eat dinner. So I'm sorry about that. But thank you so much for sending me your cats. And let's take a look at the chat. So Beck says, yep, different types of pointed coats. Rin is a chocolate pointed. Yes, and that's because the C allele has different flavors of it. One is sienna and one is chocolate. And so that's like the ragdolls, they look one way and the Siamese look one way. But it's all that cold sensitive allele. So it's just the cold parts of the cat express that. So, yeah. Tim, you would learn nothing about cars from me. I don't know. I don't even know how a car works, but I know about cats. So Jake he likes to joke that for his LinkedIn page, he wants to just say, ask me about cats. So Scotty asks, how do hairless cats and hypoallergenic cats fall into this? So I'm not aware of any cat that is truly hypoallergenic except the hairless. I think that hairless it's an allele of the L gene where it doesn't make it doesn't make any hair at all. So and that's I know that's homozygous recessive inherited. Nobody sent me a hairless cat. So cats in cars. So yeah. But you don't have to just ask me about cats. You can ask me about anything. Not physics. But Jake is upstairs. You could ask me about physics. So, Lady Rorschach asks, how would you describe Marquis' genetics? He reads as a flame point, white with flame points. Yeah, so he's cold. He has that cold sensitive allele. And he has, I'm not sure, there's a couple different flavors of that cold sensitive allele. So I don't know if he's exactly like Rin is, but that's his genetics. Myrtle says, Kelly, being drowned in cats is not a bad thing. Do cat streams every week. Start doing 2 streams a week. One for cats and one for other science topics. I mean, maybe we should do a dog stream sometime. I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. So, big shrimping, drowning in what? All right, I'm going to go back to the top and see if I have any questions there. But if you have any questions, let me know. All right. At some point, we're going to do the drawing. I'm not sure when. So make sure you get entered. The hashtag is Fat Kitty. All right. Well, I'm going to go down to the bottom of the chat, see if you have any questions. So last week, everybody wanted to talk about kale. God, let's not talk about kale again. So Lady Rorschach says, definitely in favor of a dog stream. You know, one thing that you'll find out is dog genetics does not work radically different than cat genetics. So back when I was a professor, I actually used to talk about cats a lot. Another thing I didn't talk about, Manx cats. So Manx cats are the cats with the little stubs. So if you are a heterozygote, you will have the bobtail. If you're homozygous dominant, the cat will be regular cat, the regular tail. But if the cat has 2 copies of the allele, it doesn't make it, as it'll have spinal deformities and it'll spontaneously abort. So that's an interesting inheritance too. So Silver Creek says, Xiphophorus is Xiphophorus, though. That's not true hybridization. I'm talking about after their own kind. Mollies and platies are very common and can mix. Are they the same kind? Well, I don't know a lot about live bears, but I will tell you that species boundaries can sometimes be messy. And that's a topic we can talk about maybe sometime. The definition of species. There are different definitions applied to different species. So there's the Ernst Mayr biological definition is you have 2 organisms who can mate and form fertile offspring. They are considered a species. However, there are other definitions. There's the morphological species. That's 2 organisms that pretty much look the same. So they would be considered a species. That's another definition. There's the phenotypic definition. Phonetic definition. That's where a group of organisms share a common ancestor. They would be considered a species, but still arbitrary. So there's different definitions. And species get kind of messy because sometimes there are hybrids formed, but they wouldn't form in nature because the 2 organisms never see each other. So that's another dog. Hang on. Dog needs to go outside. So I'm going to text Jake so he can take her out. All right. So, so the definition for species is messy. And it's very messy among mollies and platies because they hybridize a lot. Alex says that mollies are Posilia, platies are Xiphophorus, and they can't mix. I don't know anything about those because I've never kept a live bear. Shh. So even a liger is infertile. Yes. And they're infertile because they have different numbers of chromosomes, which we can talk about another time. But yes, they can form offspring, but they're not fertile. So a mule, for instance, is a hybrid of a donkey and a horse, and they are not fertile. Scotty asked, are we going to have a Jake sighting? Jake is upstairs working on German. Jake is very, very serious about doing German. Very serious. But he needs to take dog out because dog is very serious about pooping in the hallway. All right. June says, just had a cat emergency. They knocked over my antique lamp. Only broke the bulb. Thank goodness. Yeah. Thank goodness indeed. All right. Tommy says, what I'm saying is a bird and a fish can't mix and make something fertile ever. Very true. They are very reproductively isolated. Dragon Lair, I don't know what a Rex cat is. I'm sorry. I feel like I've let you down in my cat knowledge, but I don't know what they look like. Let's see. Barbara asks, what would a magenta gene do in a cobra guppy population? I don't know. I am not a guppy expert. I have never had a guppy. I know that's hard to believe, but I've never had a guppy. And I never will. Unless Steven does something terrible to me and sends me guppies, which I hope he never does. All right. Lady Rorschach says species is kind of an arbitrary name that humans use to help identify variations between given populations. Agreed, Kelly. Species is a messy term. Well, species is actually the only genetic classification that can have a biological basis, because the biological definition of a species is that two organisms can mate and form fertile offspring. At least there is a biological basis for that. Everything else is arbitrary human ruling. I mean, granted, it has to be based on evidence. I mean, we're not just saying, yeah, maybe those two should be a species, but but all the other levels, those are arbitrary. So kingdom, phylum, genus, all those levels they're based on human criteria. Okay. Alex says every hybrid swordtail and platy are hybrids. Mollies and guppies mix, but F1s are sterile. Okay, good to know. See, I don't know anything about those. I've never had them. June, you're so silly. Part fish, part bird. No, that's not true, June. So, Dragon Lair says Rex cats have wavy fur. I think that is an allele of the L gene from what I've read. It gives them curly fur. I think so. But I would have to look that up for you. So Geek Boy says, I've heard of Rex rabbits, but not cats. Rex rabbits are not curly. I have a Rex rabbit. I have a mini Rex, and she's very, very silky fur. It's very smooth. No, 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 no. So Steven says red gene would promote more red. Okay. Send her some fry hidden in some plants. I mean, I would think that the rainbows would take them out. They are voracious. So, Alec, very true, but that's a basic label given by a scientist of the fish. Yet we know by watching and studying them how similar they are, if that makes sense. I mean, I think that it just goes to highlight that it is very difficult to form what we would call clades, which are groups based on shared heritage. It's very hard to form clades. You know, there's always disagreement among scientists. That's why scientific names change, because as we get more information, we can make clades better. We can make better family trees for organisms, and that changes over time as we get better. So it is complicated. Myrtle says, add water to the plant bags so they stay alive. I need guppies and plecos. I don't need plecos. I mean, Geek Boy has plecos, and he's not very happy. I want to be happier. Eric says he's bringing guppies for my ponds. They won't make it the winter because I don't take fish in. I have Medaka and I have goldfish, and they're okay in the winter. I don't think guppies would be okay. No guppies. No guppies. Send teeny guppy fry in the moss. Maybe she won't see them at first. So first of all, no one better send me moss. I don't like moss either. Because here's the thing. Once you have moss in your tank, you have moss everywhere. And I don't want moss everywhere. So Alex says Devon Rex and Cornish Rex are neat looking patterns. I will have to look them up. Nobody sent them. And I think nobody sent them because most of you guys, with the exception of Rin, have kind of standard cats. I mean, most of us got our cats off the street, and I think Rin was also a rescue cat. And so you kind of just see those more common alleles because most of us don't have fancy purebred cats. I mean, most of us just have I mean, my cats came from the street. Tommy says, basically, labels were given many years ago, and we're learning more and more new things as time goes on. Yes, that is very true, especially now that we're in the era of DNA sequencing. All of these organisms now have sequenced genomes. And once you have that, you can do a lot of analysis with them, and you can make more informed groups. Thanks for the clarification. I heard that in other genetic circles. You are welcome. Brian asks, subspecies is where things get really sticky. Yes, that is very true. And a lot of that is based on maybe geography. So maybe they could form fertile hybrids, but maybe they never encounter each other. Maybe if they're fish, maybe they're in different creeks. Maybe if they're buffaloes, maybe they're, completely different areas of the continent. So that's where subspecies come in. And yeah, a lot of that's arbitrary. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. King Philip came over from Germany sailing. Joe says, classifying and categorizing stuff gives us control and ownership over said stuff. I mean, you have a point, but I always feel like to name something is to know it and to love it. I mean, I always feel like I have so much more appreciation when I walk through the woods because I know the names of mushrooms and flowers. So maybe you could think of it that way. Myrtle says, Zen, Kelly will burn any and all moss. She's declared her hatred of moss. It's true. I hate moss. I'm done with it. Lady Rorschach says, Rex rabbit fur is so lovely. Yes, she's a very, very silky bunny. Her fur is so soft. She's even softer than like my cats. She's a very soft bunny. But here's the thing about Bunny. She doesn't like me. She doesn't like anyone but the dog. Dog is her best friend. And that's okay. Dog deserves a pet. I mean, dog is very nice and loving. But Bunny hates us. Tommy says, classification is what happens when you give man a task. Or woman. Like ladies do science too. That is solely based on monetary income. A lot has been made up just to have a thesis to write after 10 years of study. I wrote a thesis. I went to grad school and, I don't know. I don't think that's very fair because I know how hard these people work. And it's so much of biology is not just done to describe a species. In fact, very little of it is. A lot of it is to understand the evolutionary history of an organism. A lot of it is to understand the ecology of an organism. A lot of it is to understand the fate of an organism, the environmental fate of an organism. And it's not just like something like people are doing just to do. Like people really care about these animals and plants and things. And there's a lot of different kinds of biologists, who do different stuff. I was not an evolutionary biologist, but like I kind of take offense at that because this isn't like a masturbatory activity. Like people are doing this because they really care about our world, and like nobody's getting rich off of this. Like grad students, I made 18 grand a year, people. 18 grand for 8 years. So, and it's not just men, it's women too. Rant over. All right. Like you're not going to spend 10 years working on something knowing if you have nothing to write if you don't get paid. You would be surprised at the amount a grad student will do for so little money. I mean, I made 18 grand a year, people. 18 grand. 18 grand. Nobody is getting a PhD for money. You do it because you love it. I mean, yeah, I make money now, but I didn't do that to get rich. Nobody does it to get rich. There are other things you could do to get rich. All right, Alex says there was a lady named Dr. Joanne Norton who worked on swordtail and angelfish inherited genes in an Iowa basement. Well, that's pretty cool. So I'm from Iowa, but I don't know her. I did my I went to school at the University of Iowa, but I don't know her. I'll have to look her up. Scotty says, I can't be that mean. We can't send her any plecos. We have to start with live bearers. I think I'd rather have a live bearer than a pleco. Plecos are the. If you like your plecos, if they make you happy, more power to you. June says, I have two kinds of Oscar fish. The difference is two little fins on the underside. Still, it is a difference. Yeah, it is a difference. I mean, Jess, if you want, oh, yep, the giveaway, which we keep track of time. We'll do at some point. Tommy says, I'm not knocking scientists here. I'm just saying that some of them have made stuff up just in the sake of making money. So if you want to be a scientist who is making money, you are not going into guppy genetics. Let's just get that out of the way now. You're going into what I do, which is pharma. And I really don't think that scientists are trying to make stuff up. We're just learning new things. We're getting better at things. We're getting more information all the time. Science is done by humans. We're all doing our best. We don't always have all the tools available to us. I mean, I think about all that has changed since, I started doing science as a 19-year-old, which was a long time ago. Back then, you couldn't sequence a whole genome. Now you can. I mean, things are so different now. You have so much more information. So, we're just all doing the best with our imperfect human tools. What about some goodyids? I don't have a problem with goodyids. I don't have that many tanks. I only have 3 tanks. Hang on, Jake needs to take dog out. Because she wants to go out. So I think goodyids are cool. I just, I don't have that many tanks. So no guppies. How about endlers? I mean, endlers are nice. I don't know. You can't have every fish. Wait, you said no guppies, but didn't say no to endlers. I mean, you can't have every fish. June says moss doesn't like it here. I don't know what plant you can grow, June. I mean, that's difficult times. Moss. How about hair algae? I have plenty of my own hair algae. You're just not seeing that tank right now. Lady Rorschach says, I'm all for utilizing species as a term to help identify and distinguish, though. I've just heard that in other circles. Yeah, I mean, these are words we're using to help us understand our natural environment. That's what it is. And to have those words, helps us appreciate these organisms. It helps us care about their lives and their habitats and their survival. So I think it's important. Brooklyn says, listening while trying to save a guppy that is trying to give birth. Oh gosh. The fry is stuck. She is popcorny. I know the chances are poor. Love y'all. I don't know how to help you, Brooklyn, but I hope that someone in the chat can help you. All right. Only Oscar says there's only one cat. That's true. I mean, was it Felis domesticus, I think? Yeah, there's just one cat. There's other cats, but they're not house cats. Yes, Rin was a rescue. Only rescues for Kyle and I. Truly a blessing. Yeah, there's a lot of kitties who need homes. My cats just walked in off the street because I got tired of living outside. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, more cats wanting to come in, but I only have so many places. So Vibe says lurking and taking annual shower. That's good. Hygiene is important. Dragon Lair says, I'm in love with the huge wolf looking Maine Coons. I know, those are so cool. Oh, they're such cool kitties. They're so big. Those are good kitties. Geek Boy says, all of our cats come from shelters except Fuzzbutt. My wife found him in a parking lot. Free pets are the best pets. I didn't pay any money for my cats either. I mean, cats sometimes just walk into your life. What are you going to do about it? Myrtle says, agreed, Beaks. Go with rescues as much as you can. There are a lot of cats who need homes. I mean, you know. Lady Rorschach was a lot of cats. I didn't even show all of her cats. I'm sorry, because she has a lot of cats. Have been rescues with the exception of the one oops litter. Get your cats spayed and neutered because cats have a lot of babies. Good thing about Bengal cats is they are immune to feline, what is that, leukovirus, I think it is. Yeah. So there is a vaccine for that you can vaccinate your cats with. It's not a death sentence for your cats to have that. They can live, but they are sickly. So I know that it used to be that like our local shelters would just immunize or euthanize any cat that was positive for that virus, but now they try to find homes for them, so that's good. Berkeley is trying to catch that fish. That's good. So Darlene says, as I was growing up, we showed peak-faced Persian cats. Oh, those are very pretty. Those are very pretty cats. Persians, they have long fur. They're very regal looking, very pretty. So Alishon says King Philip came over from Greece to Spain. I mean, that's a good version of it too. I mean, I always learned King Philip came over from Germany sailing. But if you think about it, like, a lot of Germany is landlocked, isn't it? I mean, there's some coast, I guess. So all Bengals have wild forest cat genes. I don't know a lot about Bengals. I know they're cool looking. I know they're big. June says softest fur I know is a sepia cat. So it's very interesting. Like Big Kitty is very soft and silky. Or he's very soft and fluffy. Fat Kitty, he's very silky. His fur is very silky. But Tiny Kitty is kind of, she's black. She's kind of coarse. Barbara says, I do that with garden plants to my family when we walk. No, they politely ask me to stop. You know what, Barbara? Let your light shine. You just keep doing it. You just keep doing it. Silver Creek says, sorry, man is in mankind. Didn't mean to include there. Well, I mean, as someone who is a woman in the science, I'm a little sensitive about it. June says, took 12 years and many cats to get a sepia. I don't know what a sepia cat looks like. Those are less common coat colors. Geek Boy says, Abyssinian cats have the softest fur I've ever felt. Alex says, Dragon Lair, I know a friend in Watsonville, California breeds them, and I almost did. Tommy says, that's very true, Kelly. There are amazing studies out there, and some of the best overlooked and labeled as pseudoscientists. I'm not knocking you or anyone that does studies, but there are bad. I would just say that the good outweigh the bad so much, because like if you wanted to get rich, you could do something else and you would get rich a lot faster. I mean, and it's very hard. It's a lot of hours of work. I worked a lot of 60-hour days. A lot of scientists work a lot more. You know, no one makes any money in grad school. Most people don't come from rich families. So, you know, people aren't doing it to get rich. June says, I know several cat breeders in Watsonville. I don't think I know any cat breeders. I mean, it just feels like there's a lot of cats. Whoops. Eggs in every profession. That's all. I wasn't trying to be negative. Gotcha. Alex says, I made $5.45 an hour as a TA. Oh, God. I know. Yeah, so this was like not even that long ago, 4 years ago. My TAs, they only paid them $7 an hour because that's minimum wage in Indiana. $7 an hour. They were good kids too. Yeah, that was rough. Barbara asks, what about some male long-fin lyre-tailed guppies? They're sterile but very pretty. They could be hybrids. It could also be that their lyre tail is interfering with their gonopodium, maybe? I don't know. I don't know a lot about guppies. June says, like naming the dinosaurs. They gotta have names. Geek Boy says, my wife had a little Abyssinian girl when we met. She stayed a kitten all her life, always playing. Aww. That's so sweet. I don't know what they look like. I'll have to look it up. Love Abyssinians. I have to test the DNA first, but I swear Linus has Abyssinian DNA. He has a little chortle in his meow, and his face is uncannily similar. Oh, that's so sweet. You have very cute kitties, and so many of them. Alishon says, my daughter is in a PhD program now. Luckily, she is in a special program that pays decent salary with health benefits. We still help subsidize her. Yeah, I mean, I did have really good insurance. I will say that. Like the best insurance I've ever had for health insurance. That was really good. And this, I'm in my 40s, so this was a while ago. Pay has increased somewhat since then, and Iowa is low cost of living. But yeah, my parents did have to help me out. Like if I needed glasses or something, they would buy them, or, yeah, they did have to help me because it was tough. Tommy says, that's a good point. New info, new tech, new studies equals new outcomes. Very valid. Yeah, I mean, we're all just doing the best here with imperfect knowledge. Scientists are not perfect people. Dragon Lair says they are sterile because the gonopodium is so elongated from the lyre tail gene. Well, there you go. I guess that. Alishon says Dr. Norton was a very well-known scientist in the library community. I'm going to have to look this person up because I don't know anything about her. But that's really cool. And I was in clubs in Iowa too, but I don't know who that is. Sarah says, Turkish fans have color on tail and by ears, but not paws. I'm not sure what causes that. That's interesting. Steven says June can grow vowels. Well, that's good. Everyone should have some plants. Oh, Foxy Ann says, I want to live in that tank behind Kelly. Can I fit a mermaid? She would have to shrink down because this tank behind me is only 40 gallons. I think you're more than 3 feet long. Dee Dee says, I love gathering the hair algae in the one tank it grows in. The shrimp love it when I take it out and put it in their tanks. I mean, somebody has to like it. They could have my hair algae, Dee Dee. I would send it to them. Let's take a break from the chat. Let's do a giveaway. So I'm going to send this to a new window. And I'm going to open the StreamYard giveaway tool. 1 second. All right. Okay, so hang on. Let me share this. Share screen. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so the hashtag you must be present to win is Fat kitty. And go. Come on. Why is this not working? Do I have to hit refresh or something? Oh, there we go. Okay, go, go, go. Ah! Yay! Foxy, and I just saw a comment from you, so I know you're in chat. Happy holidays! Looks like you're gonna get some new fish. And so, what did we say? How many subscribers do I have? Let's see. It's based on the subscriber count. And as of right now, I have 137 subscribers. So Foxanne wins a $137 gift certificate to Dan's Fish. So thank you, everyone. Wait, were there only 2 entries there? Wait, do I have to redraw? Did something go wrong? Steven, tell me in the comments. Do I need to redraw? I mean, I'm hoping that that's right. Shouldn't have picked. So what do you need to do? Roxanne, is it okay if I redraw? I feel bad. Did we see more names than that flash? I have no idea what to do for this. All right. Roxanne, I'm really sorry. Is it okay if we draw again? I'm sorry. We'll wait for Roxanne to comment because I feel bad. Okay. So do I just hit draw again, Steven? Yeah, come on up, Steven. I'm sorry, Roxanne. I'm new at this. Yeah, because it says there were only 22 entries. So I think I just hit draw again. Maybe. No, because now there's only 25. Don't count this. Not counting. Not counting. Now there's only 25 entries. Sorry, not counting. All right, let's just try this again. Okay, re-enter the hashtag. And then I will just go to StreamYard giveaway tool. And okay. Now I will give everyone until 9:24 to enter. You can enter it again. I mean, because StreamYard's giveaway tool will only collect it once. Hi, dog.
Hi.
Hello. Am I doing it right now?
Let me see. I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but yeah, there were not. The entries went away.
Oh.
There's not supposed to be a time limit on
Yeah, that's
retroactively
what I
capturing,
thought.
unless it's just the fact that like it's not picking up the old chat. Like maybe the chat itself timed out.
Yeah, maybe
Would be
that's
my
it.
only guess there. So in this case, I mean, I would say just give people 5 minutes. To type in hashtag fat kitty again, and let's just see how many comments it's collecting.
Yeah.
So yeah, just click start collecting comments.
Now I have
38
38.
entries. There we go.
Is
That
that
looks good.
better?
It's better, but let's wait. Let's let people enter one more
So will
time.
that go up if
Yeah, it won't. If you double enter, it won't penalize you for it. But if people haven't entered, it should be going up.
okay. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know how many people
40.
are in the stream.
We have 56 right now.
Oh. Maybe some people don't want to enter. Now there's
Who wouldn't
40.
want Dan's fish?
I don't know, maybe you hate fish.
That that would be
Or maybe you're
odd thing.
Canadian. Maybe you're Canadian and hate fish. Okay, it is going up. So we'll give
Yeah.
it until this stream's gonna end at 9:30. So we'll give it till 9:27.
Yeah, that seems fair.
You have to be present to win. So
Mm-hmm. Who's not going to stay to win 130 whatever?
yeah, I think we're
How
at
many
130,
subs?
137. So mods, if you could drop my email address for the winner, it's kelly.foreman@gmail.com. Maybe I'll just enter my own damn email address. I can do that.
What, you're going to mod from panel?
Am I really modding?
It's forbidden.
Modding.
You mod so much everywhere else all the time.
Such a great
But you need a
mod.
break.
Just the best mod. All right, we have 45 entries, so it is going up.
Yeah, one more minute.
I mean, they even sell a few snails now at Dan's Fish.
I saw they got a mono shrimp in stock the other day, too.
I know. So even if you're a fish hater, and they have plants. One more minute. Thanks for entering my email, Tim. You're a good mod. I think I made some more mods. I think. I can't remember.
Let's see.
I made some more mods.
Well, we have me and Crypt Keeper and Myrtle and Annette.
Yeah, we got some mods.
Eric.
We've got some mods.
Jenna. Monster Fish Gal. Scotty. Yeah, Geek Boys.
Yeah, we got some mods. We
have a lot of mods. Lots of wrenches.
That's good, because I'm not doing anything.
Nah.
That's why I have these fabulous mods. All right, it's 9:27. So can I hit it now, Steven?
Yeah. Well, oh, okay. Yeah, 48 entries. So I think it's got everybody now.
Okay. And go.
Okay. I'm seeing a crap ton more names this time.
Oh, that's good.
It looks like it captured everybody that it didn't before for some reason. That was weird.
Ah!
And look who won. Eric.
Yay!
Congratulations, man.
I think I have your email.
Well deserved.
Yeah, send me the email address that you want, that you use for buying at Dan's Fish. And I will email it out to you. Well, everyone, I'm going to end it here. Everyone go to Chattanooga Eds next. Mods, if you could drop the link. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Steven, for helping me, as always.
You're welcome.
I did better, though, I think, this week. Thank you, everyone who sent me pictures of your cats. I really appreciate it. Thank you, mods. You're so wonderful. Thank you, lurkers. Thank you, replay crew, especially Debbie Holding. I know you're in the replay crew. Thank you. And just thank you, everyone. Topics.
For all the kitty cats.
Yeah, topics. Hit me up in the Discord. If you see me in chat, tell me what you want to learn about. We'll talk about it. All right. Have a good night.